going on, Lane? Just wanted to get your thoughts on Richard Anderson so far and how big of a role you think he could have for this team.
Good to see you, John. Follow me around. That is true. You're all right. I'm following you. Trying to remember. I feel like John made an announcement I was leaving one time when I really wasn't leaving and set the world in previous place in arms. Inside sources, yeah. Anyway, Richard Anderson. Phenomenal prospect. You know, this guy's going to be a great player. It's just a matter of time to when that happens. And love how physical he is. Love how hard he's worked early. You know, again, these guys really are seniors in high school. We just, over time, have changed their enrollment, you know, for so many guys to come early. So he's doing a great job. Got a little banged up and played through it Saturday, which was good. So we're really excited about him. Very well coached.
Yeah, Coach, just a two-parter on Sam Levitt, if I could. Just wasn't out there today. It looked like he had some kind of small procedure done on getting the pins out, I guess, of his leg. Just maybe when you guys might expect him to get back on the field. And then just, I guess, the experience that he has as a two-year starter now coming in, and just what kind of benefit does his experience and his performance, having played in a playoff game, been, you know, what does that do for you guys within that room?
Yeah, you know, none of these are a surprise. You know, this is the timeline we expected. We had the screw removed yesterday, and everything went well. You know, it was something that going into it we were going to know that, you know, it was going to be unfortunate. He was going to miss spring a lot of it, but that was going to allow the other guys opportunities. And just kind of looked at things, you know, I just feel nowadays, you know, it's a little easier to play quarterback than it used to be years ago as far as how long you've been there. If you look around the country, people transfer and go play at new places, and look at the previous place we were at. The guy didn't get there till the summer. So, you know, kind of that went into the decision where I feel like years ago you've been really concerned that the quarterback's going to miss your spring. He's done a great job mentally in the meetings and walkthroughs and able to throw some individual before this procedure.
Coach, you've had great success, Lane, running the football the last 5 years. Can you talk about the job you have with your O-line, your running backs? LSU last year, 10 rushing touchdowns, 104 yards a game rushing. Can you talk about the job to establish that complementary run game that you've had the last 5 years?
Yeah, that's a really high on our list. Very big challenge to get that fixed. You know, and that takes a lot of things. It's a system thing, it's a personnel thing, and so, you know, getting here and going to work on that. And I just don't think if you can't, you know, in my opinion, you can't run the ball, you got problems, not just offensively, but as a team. It's just part of your personality. And so we've always really stressed that. Over time, we've run the ball as well as anybody over the years, the last two places we've been. So, and it's looked different with different types of running backs. So that's a really big challenge for us right now, like you alluded to, major issue last year and really for a few years here. And so that's high on our list because it sets up everything. Everybody knows that sets up throwing the ball and play action, but to me it sets your whole team up.
Coach, two questions. One, with Gabe Relaford out, who does that not open the door for, but give an opportunity to with some extra snaps they might not have been getting in spring?
Yeah, I think guys have done a good job. You know, we've moved people around a little bit, and today in our third down package with different rushers and things, and you know, Lamar will be here, which will help too at that spot. And so we'll just look at different options.
And then with the portal, I mean, you said 40-plus guys. Are there guys that you've seen through a few weeks that you or the staff are like, hey, these guys are maybe a little bit better than we even had on our eval of them through film?
Well, a lot of that's offensively. I mean, really almost, just think about it after the scrimmage Saturday, I mean, almost the whole offense, I should know the percentage, but I don't, you know, is new at so many spots. And obviously quarterback and receiver, almost everybody. So there's a lot of guys in there doing well, and we're looking at it as like just every day. How can we get better with guys and move them around? We moved some receivers today, actually, that were playing inside and outside, and moved them to look at different things. So we're like an expansion team that way. We're looking at everything, and because we really don't have a background with hardly any of these players, so just utilizing the time to look at a lot of different things.
Just a couple of house cleaning things. You announced the coaching clinic with Marshall Falk today. I guess just how much do you have your coaches teach at the clinic, and then what's it like? Do you have a relationship with Marshall?
Our coaches will be there. They'll have breakout sessions. I'll speak. Coordinators will speak. General manager will speak. This is critical to me. You know, being out and around. There's great football in Louisiana. Obviously, great players. But I've said before, I love the way that the people in Louisiana are. But then when you get to football, the way that the coaches are and how much passion that they have, and the players. So I've really challenged our guys to have a phenomenal clinic, spend time extra with all the coaches, and breakout sessions of position groups so that we can help make the state better. I really didn't know Marshall. I don't know what that would be like, 1999. I was at the game when they beat the Bucs to go to the Super Bowl in St. Louis. My dad was the coordinator at the Bucs. So I was there at the game. I don't remember, it was 13-9 or something like that. And greatest show on turf, and so I knew him as a player, obviously, and then I met him when we were speaking somewhere the other week. So I'm excited for him, to have this opportunity, and some of his staff was here today, and just trying to help them any way we can.
And then I noticed Jamarcus was at practice today. I guess is that a conscious effort for you to get some of the older players back in the building, and how has that been progressing?
Yeah, our building's open to former players, and talked to a number of them. Some have come around. I've reached out to others to make sure that they understood that. This is the place they put together and built. So it was really neat to see Jamarcus. I'd missed him. He was here one time when I first got here, but I missed him, when he was up here visiting. So it's great to see him. It continues to amaze me at life that you think you have your life figured out when you're younger, and you have no idea what's going to happen. And I was just thinking when I saw him today, and then I sent T. Martin over to him today, and I'm like, who would have thought, I don't even know, that it's probably about 18 years ago or something like that, when he's the #1 pick at the Raiders and I'm the head coach, that years later, it's actually the only time I've ever been in this building, was for his pro day. And 18 years later, I'd be here, and T. Martin be here, and Jamarcus would be walking up. So you never know what's going to happen, but it was great to see him.
One quick follow-up about Richard. Based on, I know you talked about him being such a great prospect. Based on, what you've seen in the spring and his size and physicality, do you view him as a guy that could potentially make an impact for this defensive line this year right away?
Yeah, I do. We're not very deep defensive line. That's why it was really important to bring in portal guys, but then also, sign the high school guys that we did. And so there's very high expectations for him and the others.
Coach, with the offensive line, just exactly what are you looking for in terms of evaluation from that group this spring, and maybe how many spots on that group are up for grabs, starting spots?
Yeah, obviously a lot of new pieces there, with guys coming in and retooling that room. I really like how well they've worked with the coaches. We have some great line coaches, 2 of which have been in the NFL, and so I'm excited about how they're coming along. There's a lot of work to do. If we were to play right now, which we're not, we'd be a defensive football team. That's what Saturday was obvious. And now, obviously, that system's been in place. A lot of those players return comparable to the offense, but we're always going to look different every year based off of our players, and we're never going to say this is just what we do. And so we may put together teams that win in different styles, and we've done that before. And if we were to play right now, we'd play to our defense, because we have some great defensive players that are playing really well, and until the offense comes along, but we're not playing right now.
Lane, can you talk about your offense and tempo and juggling, how quickly you have to move and substitutions? You play a large number of wide receivers, but then that can change how quickly you are offensively. And then the temptation there with, close to 14, 15 wide receivers, trying to keep everybody happy. Does that factor in this day of NIL? All that has to be a push-pull.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a day now that I don't try to think of different ways of doing things and realize, okay, the changing landscape of everything. And again, I don't get up here and complain about it. This is what it is. Maybe at times I get asked and I say, this is what I think it should be, or these are the problems that are coming. Which, again, I think there's things I haven't done well. I think on that, pretty much predicted the problems we're in. And so, but instead of continuing to complain about it, this is what it is, and how do we make the best rosters around it? And, with that group, I think that our recipe, right or wrong, hasn't been to go way top heavy and, to try to balance the room a little bit deeper, as opposed to throwing all your money at one or two of the high-priced guys, in the evaluation period. Let those guys go other places and focus more on trying to get more balance, because you got to figure it out somehow, which way are you going to do it, because there's only so much. And this system worked for us before, and hopefully it does it again. You might not have as much right here at the top, but you have more balance, hopefully.
Elaine,
And I think because of the tempo, that's extremely critical to me, because you wear down as the season goes on. So if you don't have depth, throughout the season, but within the games, we've been there before, where now we've had good top guys but had to drop so far when the backups go in.
looked like today during individual, Blake Baker worked with 4 different groups of players. Can you maybe just explain what the roles and responsibilities are for he and Chris at practice and sort of what they're all trying to accomplish?
Yeah, Chris coaches the linebackers, and so I like that allows Blake to move around and coach everybody. And so I think that's gone really well. Because of the tempo, I think scrimmages are really even more valuable. Coaches' communications, and we have guys up in the press box and on Saturdays because of that, to work on that, because I think that's a big part of where college football has gone to, because of iPads, because of communication to a defensive player and an offensive player. We practice that a lot and work on that a lot. So Blake's communication with the staff and with the player that we select is really critical to me, really critical, I believe, on game day, and some things that some people put a lot of value to and some don't.
Coach, just to clarify with Sam, now since he's had this little cleanup procedure, does that mean he's going to be out for the rest of the spring, or is there a potential return by the end of the spring?
Yeah, I don't think he will. He's on crutches now, but maybe.
Just kind of 2 here, if you don't mind. Are you going to have your coordinators in the box, or are you saying you like them better on the ground to have that communication?
Yeah, we're still working through that. Definitely we'll follow our offensive system, which it was before with Charlie up there, and we're still working on defense about what that setup would be, and looking at everything with some new coaches on that side of the ball.
I didn't think I'd have this opportunity, but when LSU played in Oxford, you did a pregame scout. I've never seen a head coach go down and literally scout. Where do you find the value in that? Is that something you've always done? Like I said, I haven't seen a lot of head coaches do it.
Again, I probably just, like I said, just think really outside of boxes of traditional ways. And for me, that just helps me really see, okay, who's warming up? Okay, is anybody a little bit banged up? How do they look? Sometimes you haven't seen the players before because you haven't played them before. And so I just really like to get a feel for it, especially on the defensive side of things. And sometimes I think you can see things. You can see how a player is warming up over there, maybe a player who is limited during the week. How do they look like, I mean, I watched LSU, and the good corner was over here by me, and I came back and said, we're not going to throw on him all day. He looks even better in person than on film. So I guess sometimes I come up with things during that. I don't know. I've been doing that for years now. I'm not sure really when.
Coach, I know it's about the process and not the outcome, but can you talk about the additional conference game this year, if that affects any of your spring or fall work, and if you were in favor of adding that ninth conference game in the SEC.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to complain about it. I was very outspoken in meetings with the commissioner, with president's athletic directors. That was not, in my opinion, that was not a good idea until the system of how they selected teams was fixed. Until it was fixed that there were automatic bids, until it was truly fixed that a strength of schedule matters how it should, much more like basketball does. Until that's fixed, it made zero sense to me to go add another hard game, put teams on the road 5 times in this conference, which top to bottom is the hardest conference to play in and the hardest stadiums. But we did. I understand there's always things that go into decisions besides the way that I think. And so I'm sure there were financial reasons for it, but I don't think that anybody now that they've kind of seen how selections have gone, thinks that there's value in that from that standpoint. And you're going to continue to have this, in my opinion, this threshold until they go to more teams or a different system that 10-2's in, 9-3's out. So you just got some more losses in your conference and beat yourself up more, which is different than any other conference plays from a toughness standpoint. And my thing was, so you're going to have whatever you have a lot of years, and you have, we have 8 of the top 10 hardest schedules in the country. So you made it harder. You're like, you don't get more points when you're already the first hardest schedule to get, to stay the first. So I don't. I was not a fan of it at all, and there's more into it besides just, when you play some easier games, it's not just a physical standpoint, it's a mental standpoint of nowadays, because of the knowing the portal's coming, you get to play other players, you get to keep your play counts down. There's a lot into it besides just, the game itself, why you schedule that way. Last season, I think we looked as good as anybody at the end of the season, the place we were at going in the playoffs from a health standpoint, mentally and physically. Well, that was a pretty well put together schedule. 8 home games. So when you do have your game in non-conference, that you don't play as well, you can get by a little bit versus, going down at a game in the swamp or something is your other game.
I guess I'm just curious to the answer to the riddle if Winnie dominated Spears today.
Yeah, that came up last night because there was a question on like matchups and game planning and stuff, and so the slot coach said that Winnie was going to, dominate Spears today, and so sometimes we just post those things for motivation, to get guys competitive, and so I think they went back and forth today in the initial drill. Winnie won, and then Spears got him later on. So that's all we're trying to do: create competition, create reasons for people to be motivated during practice to have the best practice they can.
Last week, they said they're becoming acclimated to how hard you're working them. They're tired. How do you see that process going, and your strength and conditioning, and where do you want to see them in August from this point?
I think they've done a really good job. I mean, guys are up here all the time. Walking at 9 o'clock last night, and there's guys out there doing one-on-ones on their own and stuff. And so I do like that. Now it's early, and I tell them it's easy to do that early. Do you continue that? Do you establish your habits that continue that through times that aren't going as well as you like, or not the beginning of camp like this? So we still have a lot of work to do, especially up front, conditioning-wise, and to get to this spot that we need, but it's a good start. When you come in,
to the finals.
And the church says, Amen. Amen Thompson
Amen
has
Thompson.
to come in there and make sure that he continues to do what he's done all year, which is defend the hell out of the ball.
Yeah.
He does. He is a madman out there guarding 94 feet, and he can guard multiple positions with a guard-heavy Western Conference making decisions down the stretch. Because they don't have a point guard, he's got to step up.
We just don't talk much about Houston, and then there's the team they'll be facing, and that's LeBron James, and we know he won't have Luka, or we don't think he's going to have Luka. We know he won't have
What version of
Austin
Luka?
Reeves.
Yeah.
So, Alan, who's got to help LeBron carry the load?
We're showing you right here, it's one of their most unreliable players has to be reliable throughout this series, and that is DeAndre Ayton. He has to be a beast in the paint. He has to be a monster on the boards. He has to be impactful every minute he plays in every game. The problem is, while the talent's there, the consistency isn't. But he is, of all the players left, he has got to be the
He's
sidekick.
capable.
So,
He's
Sean,
capable.
you played with LeBron. You know him. You know him in a different way than most people do because
Yeah.
you know what it's like to be his teammate. So you have a better sense of the way his mind may work. I get that he's 41. He's no longer in a position to just put an entire team on his shoulders and carry them the way he might have then. But we're all sitting here saying, oh, they've got no chance. There's no way they can win. He's not thinking that, right? So take me inside LeBron's head. What is he thinking? This is what I'm going to do, and we're going to shock the world, and we're going to win. What is it he's thinking?
Well, what you're thinking is you got to get as many as you can in your home court. That's your job is always to take care of home court.
Right.
After that, your job is to steal one on the road.
So they open at home. So
Game
that's-
one. How big is game one for them?
That's what I'm saying. That's the thought process,
Right.
right? But realistically, they have to steal too at home because they are not favored in this series and they are down bad. So probably game one is going to be more him feeling out who he's going to be able to trust in these playoffs. You'll see more of a push in game two. I don't know how much he got in the tank, but I do expect to see one high-scoring clip out of LeBron.
You think he's going to probably do his best to empty the tank in game one just to get ahead in the series and buy time for
Without a
Luka,
doubt.
right? Like, to me, game one is so important because, A, you're home, B, you're still feeling out the series, but also the Luka factor. We don't know his availability, and if you can steal a game, it extends the series enough to maybe he can come back later on.
To make it clear what Alan's talking about, in case any of you didn't see it yesterday, Shams reporting that Luka is coming back from Spain on Friday. He had some treatment there. It's a hamstring.
Yeah.
Maybe he manages to play. Yeah, there's the story on the bottom of your screen. Maybe he manages to play. I mean, if he can give them something, do the Lakers suddenly have a chance, do you think, Shump? I mean, the longer they stretch this thing out, maybe they have a fighting chance of doing something. I'm trying as hard as I can here. I can't seem to break through that facade.
If you're a Lakers fan, just enjoy it. Like, y'all shouldn't have been the third seed. Y'all shouldn't have come as far as y'all come. But it'd be unrealistic to sit here and think because he went to Spain and he comes back that now you guys suddenly should go further than you were going to go at full strength.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you're saying there's a chance?
Absolutely.
No, what you're saying is something I'm not sure I agree with, which is that the way they looked in March, you didn't think that even with before Luka got hurt and before Reeves got hurt, you still didn't buy the Lakers making a run this year.
Just because of how the West stacks up. I just think that it's a bad matchup for them coming into the second round. But now that we're here and we're sitting here discussing it, I really don't think it's a chance because you're not even getting Luka in his full form. You're getting Luka sort of hobbling if he does come back.
I need J.J. Redick. Like, if I'm J.J. Redick, game one is all about defense, all about locking it up.
You got to hang it
about
on defensive end.
You say steal. It's funny, but they're home. But yes, if you can steal game one, I think it buys time, extends the series, and maybe you get Reeves and Luka back at some point later on.
And I'll say
That's what makes game one so critical.
It's so heavily favored for Houston. If I'm Houston and the Lakers come out there and do win game one, I would be confused.
Okay.
That would definitely, that would give me
Remember,
pressure.
they have point guard issues late in the game.
We don't usually call it stealing one if you win at home, but that's the way it'll feel.
Oh, no,
if
you
the
got to be a
Lakers
thief.
Are able to do it Saturday night.
It's thievery.
We're ready for that this weekend.
We'll
I'll tell you what else. It is going down this weekend in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to WrestleMania! And WrestleMania is going to be the best day of my life because in the main event, you will acknowledge me.
Your body is built for show, while mine It's built of fighting.
The business that you're leading is terrible, and he is gonna save the business.
WrestleMania 42 this weekend in Vegas. The American Nightmare is here. Cody Rhodes will be defending the undisputed WWE Championship against Randy Orton. It is always a pleasure to have you here, Cody. Let's dive right into it. What does it feel like to you to be back in the biggest event of the year at WrestleMania?
Well, I don't love the B-roll that we used here. Was me just getting kicked in the balls. That's not that. I don't.
I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah.
I kind of scrunched up a little bit.
Yeah, there we go.
You like this one better?
Yeah, there's some positive action. No, it's WrestleMania. It's the showcase of the Immortals, and to be going into the main event again at this point is really a gift. I'm very excited for it.
Look, we have so many fans who watch our show and are used to talking about football and basketball, baseball. They may not understand what WrestleMania means. How would you explain to them what this event is within the WWE world?
I mean, we always called it our Super Bowl, but this whole build to WrestleMania, everything that goes on this week, it's the postseason in what we do. The stakes are very high, as you've seen with the implementation of ESPN's own Pat McAfee and what we're doing. There's a lot of outside elements that come in around WrestleMania season that make it all very real, a word you don't always hear with WWE and sports entertainment, pro wrestling. And when it's real, it's at its best.
Okay, you just mentioned McAfee.
Yeah.
Got a couple of different people that I want to get your takes on, and we're going to do them quickly here as we get set for WrestleMania 42. I'm going to say a name, and you just say whatever jumps into your head. You ready? First thing that jumps into your head when I say Drew McIntyre.
Muscles?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just jacked. He's solid, yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Muscles there.
Drew McIntyre, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very large
It's a wrestler's wrestler right there, you know?
That's a large fella.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. The next one. You say whatever jumps in. It doesn't have to be one word, whatever jumps into your head. Randy Orton.
It's the legend killer who has become himself a legend, and thus the question at WrestleMania 42, who kills the legend killer? That's the job I have. I don't know if that's the best job to have, but that's the job I have.
All right, we'll get into that. The job I have sometimes is hanging out with Pat McAfee. Yeah. I know what that can be like. When I say Pat McAfee, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
A rat.
A rat?
Full-blown, full-blooded rat who is surrounded by people that don't tell him no enough. And now he's fully involved in what we're doing. And Pat McAfee is on the marquee next to Randy Orton. No one expected that. So at least we can expect the unexpected with ESPN's own Pat McAfee. Also, I don't have the title because he took it to the Thunderdome. So I'm titleless here. I apologize.
We always know that. That's all good with me. We always expect the unexpected when it comes to McAfee. How would you describe, for those, again, but a lot of people here who don't know all the history, how would you describe the history that you have with Randy Orton?
20 years of history. Not just that. I mean, he's a third-generation wrestler. His dad, my dad, came up on the roads together, Cowboy Bob, Dusty Rhodes. But Randy brought me into WWE. My first match at WWE was against Randy Orton. His faction, the only faction he ever held, Legacy, I was one of the guys in Legacy. I learned everything it will take to beat Randy Orton from Randy Orton.
And so what message do you have for him heading into this weekend?
Get ready to look up at the lights, pal. Yeah, no, that's at this point, there's no hugs, there's no handshakes. All that love that exists between us got thrown away for this Pat McAfee element, and great. Get ready to look up at the lights.
What message do you have for McAfee?
Oh, don't show up. No. I think Pat right now is swimming. He's just in the shallows. He's treading water a bit. He'll be in the deep end on Saturday, and I look forward to seeing what he can do.
Do you think he's ready for what he has gotten himself into?
I think he's the type that gets ready. Get up. He's going to get ready. I believe that's been the motto of his journey. He's clearly passionate. He clearly works hard. But this is a whole new ball game for Pat, and I don't know if he's ready.
All right, outside of your fight, which is the one you're most looking forward to this weekend? Again, WrestleMania, Saturday, Sunday in Vegas. All the action here. We'll explain to you how you can watch it. What's the event you're most looking forward to?
Well, there's always a little bit of that split between the sports entertainment and the wrestling, the sports and the entertainment, and the one that's old school sports style that I really like, just good old-fashioned wrestling, Gunther versus Seth Rollins. I'm all about that. That's a wrestler's wrestling match.
Okay, and then one last time I will mention, it's the biggest event of the year, and there are so many people watching the show who don't know it, so tell them what to expect. What would be your way of explaining to them, this is why you should watch this weekend, because we're going to give you this?
Well, for one, this is the first ever WrestleMania that's going to be on ESPN. So if you're looking forward to those moments like Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant or Miss Elizabeth reconciling with Randy Savage, WrestleMania moments, you'll have more than one over both nights at WrestleMania 42.
Awesome to see you here,
Yeah,
as
thanks
always.
so much
Thank
for
you.
having
Good
me.
luck
Thank
this
you.
weekend. And so make sure, again, everybody's aware. It's WrestleMania 42. It's this Saturday and this Sunday in Las Vegas. Stream it on the ESPN app using the ESPN Unlimited plan. Sign up or log in with your TV provider to unlock your access. Coverage begins 6 Eastern on ESPN2 on Saturday and on ESPN on Sunday. Coming up here on Get Up, which prospect in this year's draft could help Andy Reid and the Chiefs return to the playoffs? We'll answer that question as we continue. But first, we got to find out if J-Mac is ready to answer this question. Here we go. Who is the highest drafted offensive skill player, running back, wide receiver, or tight end, that Andy Reid has ever taken? Highest drafted skill player Andy Reid ever took. The answer's next.
This is easy. Easy. Introducing Chipotle's new high-protein menu with real chicken, grilled fresh, no antibiotics, no fillers, ever. Starting at $3.50, packed with protein, Chipotle's new high-protein menu is real protein you want to eat. Chipotle, for real.
Why suffer through painful heartburn longer than necessary? For effective relief, nothing works faster than Alka-Seltzer. The effervescent formula begins neutralizing acid in seconds to effectively relieve heartburn fast. Try Alka-Seltzer.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. Brace for impact.
Shark. You want to live? Yes. We need to keep our cool.
Deep Water, only in theaters May 1st. Rated R.
Then I realized the more you bundle, the more you save on insurance.
Join Planet Fitness for 1 cent down, $15 a month. No commitment. Deal extended to April 6th.
Jeff, one of my best friends on the planet.
that lives out here in California, my man Jeff Brown. I'm going to dedicate this, what I'm about to say, because he just said it to me the other day. Can we call Mike Trout out? This is one of the greatest talents we have ever seen in the history of baseball. Yo, Mike Trout, we love you, man. We can't get enough of watching you.